So, the place is called the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. For 130 years, it housed thousands of people, and a whole lot of them never made it out. It was actually built with good intentions, believe it or not. It opened its doors in 1864, designed as this sanctuary with wide open spaces and sunlight, all to help patients get better. Back then, they were calling it one of the best hospitals for the mentally ill in America. But that dream, it crumbled. Fast. What was built for just 250 people was somehow crammed with over 2,400 souls by the 1950s. Can you even imagine that? 10 times the number it was supposed to hold. The conditions? They just spiraled into a total nightmare. We're talking awful overcrowding, not enough staff, and a complete misunderstanding of mental illness that led to some truly unimaginable suffering. Think abuse, neglect, and terrifying experimental treatments like ice pick lobotomies and electroshock therapy, sometimes without any anesthesia. Hundreds, maybe even thousands, died inside these walls, their stories kind of absorbed by the very stone that kept them locked in. The asylum finally closed its doors in 1994, but the stories, those echoes of pain, they say they never really left. Now, it's known as one of the most haunted spots in the entire United States. People see shadow figures, hear disembodied voices whispering down empty hallways, and watch objects move all on their own. Folks report being touched, pushed, and hearing cries from rooms that have been dead silent for decades. Tonight, I'm locking myself inside for 24 hours. They say ghosts have actually attacked people here. I'm here to find out if that's true. Is this place some kind of gateway to the other side? Or is it just a decaying monument to a really dark past? Let's find out. Man, the sheer scale of this place is just overwhelming. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, or TALA as a lot of people call it, is actually the largest hand-cut stone building in the entire Western Hemisphere. It's this sprawling Gothic monster, 9 acres of wards, all sitting under a 200-foot clock tower that just looms over you like some silent, watchful giant. Even in broad daylight, there's this undeniable heaviness in the air here. The walls are 2.5 feet thick limestone, almost like a fortress, holding in who knows what. I've managed to get access, and the caretakers who run the historical site have given me the okay to do this 24-hour investigation. They do historical tours and even overnight ghost hunts to help raise money for the building's restoration. So they're definitely no strangers to paranormal claims. But tonight, it's just me and the echoing silence of these massive halls. First things first, a good old daylight walkthrough. I need to get the lay of the land, pinpoint potential hotspots based on historical records and all the reported activity, and get my gear set up before it gets dark. This asylum was built using the Kirkbride design, which means these long, rambling wings all arranged in a staggered setup. The whole idea was to give patients therapeutic sunlight and fresh air. Ironically, these same long corridors now seem absolutely perfect for something to rush down or for shadows to mess with your eyes. I'm starting out on the first floor, which has areas dating back to the Civil War era. The asylum's construction actually got stopped during the Civil War because Union soldiers wanted to use the land, so its history is literally embedded with conflict, right from its foundations. There are reports of a female spirit named Ruth on this floor. They say she really despises men and has a habit of throwing things. We'll definitely keep an eye out for Ruth. Moving up, it feels like every floor has its own dark tales. The asylum was just unbelievably overcrowded. Rooms meant for one person often ended up housing 4 or 5. By 1938, it was over 6 times its capacity. Food was scarce, and they even turned hallways into patient rooms. And it wasn't just the mentally ill who wound up here. Records show people were admitted for stuff like asthma, tuberculosis, and even novel reading. Can you believe that? It's a chilling thought, being locked away for something that sounds so trivial by today's standards. And then there were the infamous lobotomies, performed right here. Dr. Walter Freeman, the guy known for his ice pick lobotomy technique, actually operated in this asylum. It's said he did hundreds of these procedures, some in a terrifyingly short amount of time. The medical wing, with its old operating theaters and treatment rooms, feels especially heavy. Instruments from a bygone era of medicine now just look like tools of torture. Electroshock therapy was also super common. It's hard to even imagine the fear those patients must have felt. I'm setting up static cameras in a few key spots. The Civil War wing, a reported hotspot in the medical ward, a room on the 3rd floor where a patient named Dean was supposedly murdered by 2 other patients, and a spot on the 4th floor, notoriously known for shadow figures people sometimes call creepers. I've got full-spectrum cameras, audio recorders, EMF meters, and a REM pod to pick up on any static energy changes. As the sun starts to dip, the whole character of the asylum is already shifting. The long shadows are stretching out, and every little creak of this old building seems to get louder. The temperature inside is noticeably colder than outside, even though it's not a particularly cold day. They say the thick stone walls act like a refrigerator. Or, maybe it's something else. This is going to be a long night. All right, the sun is completely down, doors are locked. It's just me, whatever spirits are hanging around, and 240,000 square feet of decaying history. The silence in a place this big is almost a presence in itself. It's not just quiet, it's this heavy, expectant silence, like the building is holding its breath. Or maybe I am. I'm kicking off my first sweep with a handheld camera and an EMF meter. The plan is to move through the floors pretty methodically, spending time in the areas known for activity. First stop, the 1st floor Civil War wing. As I walk, my footsteps echo like crazy in this vast emptiness. The EMF meter is quiet for now, just the usual baseline hum. Is anyone here with me? I call out. My name is your name, and I'm here to learn your story. Only the echo answers. Story of my life, right? I make my way to what's known as Lily's room. Lily is probably the most well-known spirit said to be here. Legend has it she was a little girl, maybe even born in the asylum, who died young from pneumonia. Visitors often leave her toys, and there are reports of these toys moving or candy just disappearing. The room has a collection of dolls and playthings. It's undeniably sad. Lily, are you here? Do you want to play? I set down a small ball. The EMF meter gives a tiny flicker, but that could be anything. I'll leave a static camera on it, just in case. The air definitely feels different in certain spots. There are these cold spots that make the hairs on my arms stand up, even though there are no drafts. That's a common report here. As I walk through a long, dark corridor on the 2nd floor, I hear this faint sound, like a door creaking shut somewhere in the distance. But all the doors around me are either wide open or firmly closed. Hello? I call out. Silence. I check the rooms nearby. Nothing. My heart's definitely thumping a bit faster now. Now, I'm heading up to the 3rd floor, towards Dean's room. This is where things are supposed to get a bit darker. Dean was supposedly murdered here. his head crushed under a bed frame by two other patients, Big Jim and David Mason, I think they were called, who are also said to haunt this area. The energy here feels heavy, oppressive even. The EMF meter starts to jump around more erratically as I get closer to the room. It's going from a steady 0.5 to spikes of 2.0, then 3.5 milligauss. Okay, that's interesting. Dean, are you here? Are the ones who hurt you still around? I ask, my voice a little shaky, not gonna lie. Suddenly, a distinct bang from down the hall. Not a creak, a proper bang, like something was dropped or hit hard. My head snaps in that direction. What was that? I move cautiously, camera out in front. The hallway is empty, just stretching into blackness. I check the rooms along the way. All empty. This place is massive, so sounds can travel. But that felt close. Really close. I decide to do an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon session in Dean's room. I set down my digital recorder. If there's anyone in this room, can you tell me your name? Can you tell me what happened here? I sit in silence for a few minutes, asking questions. The room is cold, uncomfortably cold. I can see my breath misting. After about 10 minutes, I figure it's time to move on to the 4th floor, the place they say the creepers hang out. These things are described as dark, crawling, shadow-like figures. The 4th floor is one of the most dilapidated areas, and it definitely has an unnerving atmosphere. The paint is peeling off in huge sheets. Debris is all over the floor, and the sense of just pure desolation is profound. As I step onto the 4th floor landing, I hear a distinct shuffle, like feet dragging. It's coming from further down the main corridor. My light pans across the endless doorways. Is someone there? I call out, trying to keep my voice steady. Then, I see it. Just for a split second. A shadow, darker than the darkness around it, darting from one doorway to another, way down the hall. It was low to the ground. My heart just slams against my ribs. Did you see that? I whisper to the camera, even though I'm totally alone. I start moving towards where I saw it, my light cutting through the oppressive black. There's nothing there, just empty, decaying rooms. But the EMF meter in my hand is now screaming, spiking to 8, 10, then 12 milligauss. This is way higher than anywhere else so far. I set up a REM pod right in the middle of this hallway. Its lights are calm for now. If you're here, if that was you I saw, can you come closer to this device? Can you make its lights go off? I wait. The silence stretches out, thick and heavy. Then, one by one, the lights on the REM pod begin to flash. Red, yellow, green, blue. It's lighting up like a Christmas tree, indicating a change in the electromagnetic field around it. And it's not just a quick flicker, it's sustained. My breath catches in my throat. Something is definitely here with me. The REM pod is still going off every now and then. The atmosphere on this 4th floor is charged. I can feel it. That feeling of being watched is just overwhelming now. I decide to do a spirit box session here, right in the heart of creeper territory. For those who don't know, a spirit box rapidly scans radio frequencies, and the idea is that spirits can use the white noise and little snippets of sound to form words. It's a controversial bit of kit, I know, but a lot of investigators report some pretty compelling results. I put on noise-canceling headphones, so I only hear the raw feed from the box, trying to avoid my own brain making words out of static, you know? I'll say out loud anything I hear as a distinct word. Is there anyone on this 4th floor who wants to communicate? The spirit box hisses and spits static. Then a clear, raspy voice cuts through. Here. My eyes widen. Who is here? Static, then angry. Why are you angry? A series of clicks, then a much harsher sound, almost like a growl followed by what sounds like, "Get out!" Okay, that's unsettling. I don't mean you any harm. I just want to understand. The EMF meter, which I'd put on a nearby old gurney, suddenly spikes violently, hitting over 25 milligauss. The REM pod starts flashing like crazy again, and then I feel it. A sharp, icy, cold blast of air just washes over me from my left. Even though there are no open windows anywhere near here, it's so cold it makes me gasp. Then a touch. Something brushes against my arm, firmly, like fingers. Whoa! I jump back, spinning around, flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. There's nothing there. Absolutely nothing. But I felt that. My skin is crawling. Did you just touch me? I demand, my voice louder now, a mix of fear and adrenaline. The spirit box crackles, and then a word, so clear it chills me right to the bone. Attack. Before I can even really process that, the old metal gurney beside me, the one with the EMF meter on it, scrapes loudly across the floor. It moves a good 6 inches, all by itself. Oh my God, I yell, stumbling back. It moved! That gurney just moved. My heart is absolutely hammering. This isn't just bumps and whispers anymore. This feels hostile. I'm filming the gurney, my hands are shaking. Did you do that? Are you trying to scare me? Another loud bang, this time from the room directly to my right. It sounds like a door slamming, but I know these old, heavy doors don't just slam shut on their own. I take a deep breath, trying to get some composure back, though my insides are totally screaming. If you want me to leave, you're doing a pretty good job of convincing me. I decide I need to be more direct, more assertive. You said attack. Are you going to attack me? The air grows heavy again. The temperature just plummets. I can see my breath clearly. Then I feel this sharp pain on my right forearm, like something scratched me. I actually cry out, pulling up my sleeve. 3 bright red marks are welling up on my skin. They were not there before. They look like claw marks. It scratched me. It actually scratched me. I'm in disbelief, showing the marks to the camera. This is insane. This is the kind of stuff people talk about. The feeling of being violated, of something unseen physically harming you, is terrifying and just deeply, deeply unsettling. The REM pod is now a frantic disco of lights, and the EMF meter is consistently reading over 30 milligauss. The spirit box is just a torrent of aggressive-sounding static and garbled noises. Another scrape. This time, a small metal canister on a shelf across the hallway falls to the floor with a clang. Okay, I get it! I shout, backing away towards the stairwell. Message received! The feeling of menace is palpable. It's like the very air is crackling with unseen anger. I'm not ashamed to say I'm scared. This isn't some subtle haunting anymore. This feels like a direct, physical warning. The attack wasn't just a word on a spirit box. It felt real. The scratch, the moving objects, this is beyond anything I was expecting. I retreat from the 4th floor, my adrenaline through the roof, the image of those red marks burning into my mind. I need to regroup. I need to check the footage. Did I just get attacked by a ghost in one of America's most haunted asylums? All signs are pointing to yes, my heart is still absolutely pounding from that encounter on the 4th floor. Those scratches on my arm, they're real, and they're stinging. I've documented them clearly on camera. I had to retreat to my makeshift base camp on the 1st floor, just needing a moment to process what the hell just happened. The idea of some unseen entity physically lashing out is something you hear about in paranormal circles, sure, but actually experiencing it? That's a whole different level of terrifying. I review the footage from the static camera I'd left near Lily's room. The ball I placed there hasn't moved an inch. The audio recorder picked up some faint, unidentifiable sounds, but nothing you could call conclusive. The camera in the medical ward also shows nothing out of the ordinary. It really seems like the main event, the real intensity, is concentrated up on that 4th floor, and maybe the 3rd floor where Dean's room is. Despite the attack, the challenge is to spend 24 hours in here. I can't just pack up and leave, as much as a very loud part of me really wants to. But I'm definitely not going back to the 4th floor alone anytime soon. No way. For the next few hours, I focus my investigation on the lower floors, which are reportedly less aggressive, but still pretty active. I walk the long, dark corridors of the 2nd floor, calling out, listening. There are still the occasional odd sounds, a distant footstep, a soft whisper that could just be the wind or something more. The EMF meter still flickers in certain areas, particularly around old patient rooms that look like they haven't been touched in decades. I try another EVP session in a large communal area on the 2nd floor. Are there any peaceful spirits here who would like to communicate? I don't want any trouble. I just want to hear your stories. I leave the recorder running for a good 30 minutes while I just sit there in the darkness, observing, listening. The silence is only broken by the creaks and groans of this ancient building settling around me. It's a lonely, eerie feeling, man. As the hours creep towards 3 a.m., often called the witching hour, or a time of heightened paranormal activity, a new wave of unease just settles over me. I'm tired, I'm on edge, and the darkness feels more oppressive than ever. I decide to check the static camera I left on the 3rd floor, outside Dean's room. Retrieving the footage, I watch it back. For a long time, nothing. Then, about 2 hours into the recording, a distinct, shadowy figure quickly passes by the camera's view. It's fleeting, just a dark shape moving from one side of the corridor to the other, but it's definitely there. And it wasn't me. I was on a completely different floor at that time. Chills run down my spine again. So it's not just the 4th floor acting up. I keep documenting, moving through different wards. I hear what sounds like faint crying coming from one of the isolation cells. When I go to investigate, the sound just stops. The EMF spikes briefly, then drops back to normal. It's like this constant cat and mouse game with whatever's unseen here. The sheer psychological toll of being in a place like this for so long, especially after a direct physical encounter like that, is immense. Every shadow seems to move. Every tiny sound is amplified. Your mind starts to play tricks on you, or is it? That's the constant question, isn't it? Those scratches on my arm are a pretty stark reminder that not everything can be dismissed as just your imagination. As dawn starts to approach, that first hint of gray light filtering through the grimy windows is honestly the most beautiful sight I've ever seen. The oppressive weight of the night begins to lift, just a tiny bit. The building still feels creepy, still loaded with its tragic history. But that imminent threat I felt on the 4th floor seems to have receded with the darkness. Making it through the night feels like a victory. A terrifying, exhausting victory, but a victory nonetheless. I do one last walkthrough as the sun fully rises, the new light casting these long, eerie shadows in the opposite direction. The asylum looks different in the daylight, still decaying, still sad, but less actively menacing. The ghosts, it seems, definitely prefer the cover of darkness. The 24 hours are up. As the morning light fully hits the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, that oppressive atmosphere of the night has definitely lessened. But the chill of the experience? That's still lingering. Walking out of those massive stone doors into the fresh air feels like I'm emerging from a whole different reality. Now comes the really crucial part, going over all the footage and audio I've captured. I spent hours poring over every single thing, looking for anything I might have missed in the heat of the moment. The most compelling pieces of evidence are pretty undeniable. 1. The REM pod activity on the 4th floor. That device clearly lit up in response to my questions, and just me being there, showing big fluctuations in the electromagnetic field around it. 2. The moving gurney. The footage clearly shows that gurney scraping across the floor on the 4th floor, with absolutely no one near it. That was a moment that truly shocked me. 3. The object falling from the shelf. That small metal canister just toppling on its own was another startling event we caught on camera. The EVPs that seemed to say, "Here, angry, get out," and most chillingly, "attack." Now I know EVPs can be subjective, but these words were strikingly clear during that spirit box session, especially when I played them back. Other investigators have even reported hearing evil from spirit box sessions here. 5. The shadow figure on the 3rd floor. The static camera footage shows a clear, even if it was quick, dark shape moving down the hallway when I was nowhere near that area. And reports of shadow people are super common here. 6. And of course, the physical scratches on my arm. The photographic evidence of those 3 red marks appearing right after I felt that burning sensation is, for me, the most personal and disturbing piece of evidence. Other visitors have reported being pushed or scratched here before, so I'm not alone in that. Beyond these key moments, there were tons of EMF spikes in specific locations, loads of unexplained noises like bangs, shuffles, and what sounded like distant voices or cries, and those pervasive cold spots. A lot of these things line up with experiences reported by other investigators and visitors. People have talked about hearing unexplained voices and slamming doors, seeing apparitions, and feeling unexplained touches. So what do I make of it all? Did the ghosts of Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum actually attack me? Based on those scratches and the aggressive activity on the 4th floor, it sure as hell felt that way. It felt like something in that specific area wanted to cause harm, or at the very least, wanted me gone. No subtlety there. This asylum holds an incredible amount of what some people call residual energy, born from over a century of human suffering, fear, and despair. The sheer number of people who lived and died here, often in truly terrible conditions, is just staggering. It's not really surprising that some believe these tormented spirits remain trapped within these stone walls. The history of places like Tala is a really dark chapter in how we used to treat mental illness. The overcrowding, the abuse, the experimental procedures, these were harsh realities for thousands of patients. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, acknowledging the pain and suffering that happened here is essential. These tours and investigations, while definitely thrilling, also help keep their stories alive, reminding us of a past we really shouldn't forget. Spending 24 hours locked inside the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was, without a doubt, one of the most intense and terrifying experiences of my entire life. The evidence I managed to capture, from moving objects to disembodied voices, and especially those physical scratches, has left me with way more questions than answers about what really lies beyond our understanding. This place is absolutely not for the faint of heart. The weight of its history is immense, and the paranormal activity I encountered felt undeniably real and, at times, actively hostile. Whether these are intelligent spirits interacting with us, or some kind of psychic residue imprinted on the environment from decades of trauma, the experiences you can have here are profound. So what do you guys think? Look at the evidence I've laid out. Do you believe the asylum is truly haunted? What do you make of the attack I experienced? Let me know all your theories and interpretations in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to hear what you all think about this. If you found this investigation as compelling as I did, please hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed for more explorations into the unknown. Don't forget to ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next adventure, because trust me, there will be more. This experience at Trans-Allegheny has definitely made me question pretty much everything I thought I knew about the afterlife. The echoes of the past are incredibly loud within those walls, and for one night, I really felt like I came face to face with them. Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the most terrifying truths are the ones we can't see. Stay safe out there,